So we're now going to fly from Vancouver in the northwest part of North America, at the bottom left-hand side of Canada, or the very top right-hand side over the border into Canada from the US. And we're going to fly somewhat east and then a little bit south to Cleveland in Ohio. And a big thanks again to Srimati, Parvati, Didi for coming on at the last moment. And also a big thank you to our sweet and beautiful Manini Radha Didi over in LA, who actually had to step in at the last moment and find another devotee to take the place of Shama Sundara Prabhu, who will be speaking, I think, next week or the week after. Srimati Parvati Didi, she met the devotees back in 1981. So quite a senior devotee, and took Harinam Diksha in 1986 and 87 from Bhakti-Tirtha Swami, and met our beloved Srila Gurudev in 1997. So I'm sure we are extremely fortunate to hear some of this sharing, and it's definitely going to be beautifully spontaneous because she hasn't had a week or two to prepare. So thank you so much for being brave and spontaneous and proactive and willing to come on tonight, Didi. We're the floor is all yours, as it were, or the Zoom is all yours. Haribol, very warm welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me to serve our Srila Gurudev in a way that's pleasing and that represents the benefits of learning the absolute truth.
Any way you could look at the camera, because we're only seeing one side of your face.
That may be all you need to see is one side. I mean, two sides may, it may be too much.
Okay.
So anyway, I wanted to just express that gratitude. Manini Radha, she's always eager to engage in service. And so I simply thought that, since today's Ekadashi, perhaps, this is a fitting way for me to go outside of my comfort zone and just surrender to the service. Because normally I would not, I just would not. I like to prepare things. I like to be organized and so forth. So I will start by saying, can you hear me good? Does the sound good?
The sound is perfect, Didi.
Okay, very good. All right, Jaya Srila Gurudev, Jai Srila Prabhupada, the Parampara Ki Jai, Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pasaya, Radhikari Priyatmane, Shishma Bhakti-Vedanta Narayana, Itanamane. Om Ganat Mariam Yasha, Jana Jana Shalakaya, Chakshil Nitanyena, Tashmai Shri Gurudev Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge, and I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Shri Chaitanya Manobistam Stapitanye Nabutale Swayam Rupagadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatapara Kamalam Shri Guram Vaishnavacham Shri Rupam Sakatyatam Sahaganash Raganatha Vitam Tam Se Jivam Sadvatam Prarijanam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahana Gana Lalita Shri Vataka Shri Vashaka Vatam Cha. Hey Krishna Gana Sindhu Dina Bado Jagat Bade Gopisha Gopika Kanda Radha Kandam Namostu Ste Tapchakanjana Gaurangi Radha Vindavadeshwari Vishnubhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shri Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Shri Prabhupada, Jai Shri Gurudeva Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada came to the United States in 1965, and I actually understand and feel eternally indebted to him because I found his book in the library in 1982, actually. This book was called The Science of Self-Realization. Srila Prabhupada spoke to me in his discussion, and I became convinced that the Supreme Lord was in the temple and that I needed a spiritual master. So I went to the Cleveland Temple looking for Krishna, and somehow I was expecting to find Srila Prabhupada there. And it was months before I realized, or before I understood that he had left his material manifestation, and I could not take initiation with him. I was devastated. I was so upset because, I had based all of my endeavoring on the fact that I believed I was just heartfelt convinced about what Srila Prabhupada was saying in his book. And it was as though he was actually speaking to me. But in 1987, I was given Harinam and Diksha in 1988 by His Holiness Bhakti-Tirtha Swami, who actually left his material manifestation in 2005. So over the years, I have given birth to 5 children. Tulsi is my oldest, Chaitanya, Keshava, Krishnavati, and Harinama. Together, my husband and I, we have 10 grandchildren. And in 2016, my eldest son, Chaitanya Leela, he was actually murdered in Goa, India, at the age of 31. So I don't know how many of you have heard that story about the devotee that was killed there. Well, that was my son, Chaitanya. So clearly, the miseries of material life is ongoing. But due to a deep-rooted faith and devotional service, after some time, I was able to work through the trauma of losing an adult son. Thus, it has been my intent to understand Krishna Bhakti so that I can not only be an example for my children and grandchildren, but also I intend to be able to assist them in developing their own understanding of Bhakti. So sometime in 1999, I was able to hear from Srila Gurudeva at a devotee's house, Agraya, in Maryland. Later, I had Srila Gurudeva's darshan in Virginia. It was at a park in Virginia a couple of years later. However, my gratitude has been exponentially expanded because of the association and training I've been receiving from Mukunda Prabhu. And I'm sure most of you have known Mukunda, either you've heard of him, just such a powerful preacher. And also Bhumipati Prabhu, Shaima Sundar Prabhu, and of course the late beloved Sai Baba. So I don't know if you know Sai Baba, but he was also a Srila Prabhupada disciple, very, very, very sweet devotee. So now I am endeavoring to process deeper into my heart the conceptions conveyed to me by these sincere servants on behalf of Srila Gurudeva, who resides in the core of my heart as my Shiksha Guru. And as a testament to Srila Gurudeva's mercy, I was actually reading a lecture that Srila Gurudeva had spoken, and his picture, I was on the computer, and I'm reading this lecture, right? And Srila Gurudeva actually came out of that picture. And just it was as though he actually went inside of me. And I looked around as if to say, what's going on? What is happening? But it was so intense. It was so powerful. It was amazing. It was confirmation to me. I didn't really need confirmation, but it was so powerful that, I had my own personal experience of the kind of entity, the living entity that was in the body of the spiritual master. So one of the things that Bhumipati has always emphasized is this understanding, Krishna Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, Jiva Tattva, Rasa Tattva. And what is Bhakti? As Srila Gurudeva would always ask questions and to make sure that we understood. And as such, this Anya Bilasita Sunyam Ganakamada Ganakamari Anavritam Anyukulyena Krishna Nu Silanam Bhakti Uttama. Of course, this is something that Bhumi always says again and again and again. So what I'd like to do at this point is I want to share something that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Bhakti Srila Prabhupada wrote, and it's called Words of Wisdom. And it goes like this. First, he says, we are put to test and trial in this world. Only those who attend the kirtan of the devotees can succeed. Number 2, every spot on earth where discourses on God are held is a place of pilgrimage. Number 3, possession of objects not related to Krishna is our main malady. Number 4, let me not desire anything but the highest good for my worst enemies. Number 5, as dalliance with the body in luxury increases, so wanes the spirit of service of the Lord. Number 6, those favored by God find their path set by thorns. Number 7, there is no peace or happiness in our worldly life. Circumstances create turmoil and annoyances. Number 8, chant the Maha Mantra loudly and with attachment. This will drive away inertia, worldly evils, and pests. Number 9, be indifferent to bizarre gossips. Stick firmly to your cherished goals. No lack of impediments of the world will ever stand in your way. Number 10, pay due respects to the extroverts of the world, but do not be appreciative of their manners and conduct. They are to be shaken off from your mind. Number 11, a devotee feels the presence of God everywhere, but one averse to the Lord denies his existence anywhere. Number 12, you cannot appreciate transcendental matters with the reasoning of the world. It is sheer nonsense to decry them with the measuring stick of your intelligence. Number 13, to recite the name of Sri Krishna is bhakti. Number 14, life is for the glorification of topics on Hari. If that is stopped, then what need is there to carry on life? Number 15, physical illness with Hari Bhajan is preferred to physical fitness without Hari Bhajan. Number 16, our span of life on earth is short. Our life will be crowned with success if the body wears out with constant discourses on Hari. Number 17, we are here on earth not to work as artisans for making big buildings with wood and stone, but to work only as messengers for the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Dev. Number 18, a sycophant is neither a guru or a preacher. Number 19, to transform the adverse desires of the jiva is the supreme duty of the most merciful. To rescue one person from the stronghold hold of Mahamaya is an act of superb benevolence, far superior to opening innumerable hospitals. Number 20, unless we are devoted to God, secularism shall not leave us. Number 21, look within. Amend yourself rather than pry into the frailties of others. Number 22, in this world of Maya, averse to the Lord, full of trials and tribulations, only patience, humility, and respect for others are our friends for Hari Bhajan. Number 23, the Lord, Gora Sundar, puts his devotees in various difficulties and associations to test their patience and strength of mind. Success depends on their good fortune. Number 24, when faults in others misguide and delude you, have patience, introspect, find faults in yourself. Know that others cannot harm you unless you harm yourself. And lastly, number 25, I wish that every selfless, tender-hearted person of Gaudiya Math will be prepared to shed 200 gallons of blood for the nourishment of the spiritual corpse of every individual of this world. Jai Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvami Maharaja Ki Jai. Hari Hari Bol. Jai Prabhu. So I thought that these are just excellent words of wisdom, and Srila Prabhupada, he said it clearly. And I think he said it nicely. And so I wanted to be able to open that up for discussion if anything resonated with anyone, anything that stood out for them.
So I'm having a technology moment just then. You would like to open up? Oh, that's nice. We don't normally do that, so that's really beautiful. By the way, those words of wisdom are amazing. And what would be great is if you can. Do you know how to use the Zoom chat? Or if you don't, just let Manini know where the source is, because then we can distribute that on the WhatsApp.
You have that, Manini, don't you? Because Bhumi sent it out.
Yeah, what's the name of it again, Didi?
Words of Wisdom.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably from BVMLU, so I can post that. I'll post it in the chat.
Yeah. Post it in on the
WhatsApp.
On the Gurudeva Memories WhatsApp, yeah, for everybody. Because the problem with Zoom chat is once the Zoom's over, there's no chat.
Okay, yeah. I'll put it both so it's easy for devotees to find. Okay.
Yeah. The Parvati, Didi, the one that struck me the most, let's see if I can paraphrase it, was when he said, this is Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Prabhupada, right?
Yes.
And he said an unhealthy body that is engaged in seva or is chanting the holy name is superior to a healthy body that's not doing any seva, right?
Yes.
Oh, your video has just gone off, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, that struck me as very profound. It shows you, in fact, there's someone I know right now, I won't mention his or her name for reasons of privacy, but they went down with COVID, and they recovered from COVID, but they've got long COVID, and they're saying to me actually that there are so many things that they were not doing. I mean, they're amazing servant. I mean, this person really serves, but there are a lot of internal things this person's saying that they're doing now with the less firm, but with the more infirm body, is making them go deeper and making them connect more at an internal level. I think the missing link, perhaps for devotees, is how do we change? How do we transform? How do we go deeper? How do we go more intense without needing the external discipline or adversity of the material world under the service of Krishna to impinge it upon us? Can we actually do it without being hammered is the question. Is that possible? Or are we just like conditioned so much that we have to get a hammering to change? What do you think?
That's an interesting question. It's something actually we talk about all the time on the call with Bhumipati's call. And, you know, some devotees are saying that it's really Krishna's mercy, the Guru's mercy. But, you know, Maya is no joke. I mean, she is very powerful. And this conditioned life it's not easy. There's so many distractions. There's so many things. I mean, if you're not a sannyasi and you're living in India, or a sannyasi and you don't really have other responsibilities, but if you have a family, you got a job, you got to work, you know, it's a real challenge.
Yeah.
It's a real challenge. You know, talk about chanting 64 rounds, please. You know, and you're trying to work, and you know, you got children. And Srila Prabhupada also said, though, that when you have children, that's really your first responsibility. That, you know, you need to make sure that those children are taken care of, that you have a responsibility to your husband, to your household. I mean, you know, that's the service that you have at that particular time.
Which out of all of those maxims or aphorisms that you read, I think there's about 25, right?
Yes,
that,
25.
Just instinctively, which one do you think makes you remember Srila Gurudev the most?
Actually, all of them to me, because this is one of the things that he always talked about, is that one, you know, we should not have so much to say about other people.
Yeah.
And that we should really be focused on what we're doing, not on what other people aren't doing.
Yeah.
That is a main thing that I've heard Srila Gurudev say all the time. And that just all of these, it reminded me of him. And that's the reason why I wanted to read it, because it just resonated so clearly that, you know, that parampara is very, very powerful.
Which number said something like, wish the best, the most auspiciousness on your worst enemy? Which number was that? About number 11?
Let's see.
I just posted it in our chat here, Yashodanandan, as well as you have. So you may be able to look. I'm trying to look very quickly here through. By the way, I love number 13. To recite the name of Sri Krishna is bhakti. Seems to remind me most of Srila Gurudev. There's just so much just in that one admonishment. If we can just chant that name purely once, you know, that's my aspiration one day to do. And I do appreciate being reminded of this, all of these.
That one that you read really, where is it? I can't find it. It's really strange.
But I remember.
Yeah, kind of like it's hiding from us both.
Oh, here it is. It's number 4.
Let me not desire anything but the highest good for my worst enemies. I really felt Gurudev pulsated with that energy.
Mm-hmm.
He exhibited that time and time again. So much adversity came to him, so much criticism, so much disrespect, actually. Yet he always rose so far above it. Does anyone who is listening have I think the Didi asked said, is there anything from those 25 statements that really resonates that anyone wants to talk about?
Haribol, I would like to say that you know, as I think about all of the seva that has been going on, and Yashodanandan and Yashodhari Didi, who you guys have been like leading the forefront of these Bhakti Zoom connections. And I think of this number 14, life is for the glorification of topics on Hari. If that is stopped, then what need is there to carry on life? I feel this is definitely these ways of us coming together as a Sangha is very life-giving, and really a lifeline, as well as like if it were to stop, so much would be lost. And so I think that this unbroken stream of nectar that is bhakti, that we all in whatever way are facilitating by just hearing, you know, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. I mean, we're hearing and we're speaking and coming together. And there are so many, you know, I'm having the experience of so many devotees who I think would be wonderful to hear from, who just are too shy or too many reasons don't want to speak. But I feel so appreciative, no matter what I tune into, you know, to hear from other devotees, all of whom are probably my seniors, you know, but I feel there's so much gained when we get to hear the topics of Hari from all of these angles of vision, and every remembrance really is cumulative and really helps my bhakti. So I'm just indebted to all of you, and I appreciate the opportunity to be a part of any of this, just to even hear. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Manini. We need to keep it rolling post-COVID, because I think the Zoom facilities, in addition to the physical attendance, because if it wasn't for Zoom, like in a normal Sangha day to day, I wouldn't have association with you. I wouldn't have association with Parvati Didi. And I think it's really beautiful. Like, actually, it really echoes Gurudev's heart, because Gurudev was non-sectarian. He didn't care about color, race, creed, nationality, geography, nothing. He just wanted us to like be flowers on many garlands, working together, cooperating, loving each other, nourishing one another. And I feel that we can do that because Zoom breaks down a lot. It's quite iconoclastic, actually. It breaks down a lot of barriers. It breaks down a lot of hierarchy, and it breaks down any sense of physical separation, which is really beautiful. Didi, I really like the fact, Parvati Didi, that you mentioned the verse Anya Balasta Sunyam Gyan Kamadi Navritam and the Kalenia Krishna Shilnam Bhakti Uttama, because actually that's always part of my invocation, because Gurudev used to make every single sannyasi in attendance of any gathering. It used to be kind of fun. I was like, oh, thank God I'm not one of those guys, because under pressure they'd have to say it perfectly in the Sanskrit, and then they have to translate it and understand the meaning. And as soon as they got it wrong, it was like, no, sit down, on to the next one. It was like, it was hilarious. But it's such an important verse, and actually that's our sadhya, that's our goal. And in reality, we can't do anything effectively in life, actually materially or spiritually, unless we are guided by our purpose, unless we are guided by our goal. When we have Hegel, the philosopher that Srila Maharaj really quite rated as a Western philosophy, Hegel, the German philosopher, he used to say that man is teleological, which means that humanity is guided by purpose. When we have a clear purpose, you know, like you've been a mother to, like your grandmother for 10 grandchildren, how many children? 4 or 5 children, amazing. And you have purpose. You know what you want, you know how you want to, you know, bring them up. You have a purpose. When we have a purpose, the resources, whether they be material resources, emotional, subtle or gross material resources, they shape around clarity of purpose. So Gurudev in that verse emphasized, re-emphasized the importance of when we're chanting our sadhana, when we're serving, understand what is our goal. It's not some kind of, and whenever I come across any spiritual person that has a different discipline, the first thing I always ask them is, what is your goal? And it's amazing how many people don't have a goal in their spiritual life. And our Gurudev gave that in many times, explaining that we are the servants of Srimati Radharani, that we want to please Krishna, as it says in that verse, by pleasing Srimati Radharani to aspire for Manjari Bhav. So that was very beautiful. You brought up that verse. Didi, we're indebted to you for jumping in at the last moment. And the fact that you said that you normally like to be really prepared, etc., makes it even cooler. Thank you so much. I think that's great. I love the fact you said you came out of your comfort zone. Gurudev would really appreciate that. Yeah. And thanks again, Manini, for arranging that. Beautiful.
Absolutely. So, but if I could just make one final point,
Oh, yeah.
and
Please.
that is with number 24.
Number 24. Yes.
Yes. When faults in others misguide and delude you, have patience, introspect, find faults in yourself. Know that others cannot harm you unless you harm yourself. Now, this was a leading thing with all of the difficulties that Srila Gurudeva had with coming to United States. I mean, it was just so much fault finding and so much pointing the finger. And if this one thing had really been practiced, then, you know, perhaps it could have avoided a lot of mess, a lot of operatic. So.
Can you repeat that for us, Didi? The number, the aphorism?
That's number 24.
Yeah, just repeat that for us because it's a really beautiful one.
Oh. When faults in others misguide and delude you, have patience, introspect, find faults in yourself.
Yeah, beautiful.
Know that others cannot harm you unless you harm yourself.
That last line is a killer. That's fantastic. It's so fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We're really indebted to you. Thank you, Didi. That was beautiful. Done with my respect.
Hare Krishna.